Hello everyone and welcome to this video on maintaining accounting periods. So what maintaining accounting periods allows you to do in Sage 200 is to open and close your financial periods in Sage 200. This is particularly useful at your month-end routine and of course at the year-end routine. And speaking of the year-end routine, all of your financial periods in the current year must be closed before you can move on and open future financial periods in the next financial year. So we get two common queries around this and I'm going to show you how to do these today. So those two queries are how to open and close financial periods and how to give a user permissions to open and close financial periods. In Sage, to do these, what you would need to do is go to Accounting System Manager on the left-hand side. You would then go to Accounting Periods, and two of the options are Maintain Accounting Periods and Maintain Accounting Period User Permissions. So to open and close the financial periods, we're going to be looking at Maintain Accounting Periods, and to give those user permissions, we're going to look at Maintain Accounting Period User Permissions. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. So we click on Maintain Accounting Period User Permissions. And what happens is the user permissions for accounting period window opens, and what you would need to do is find the existing user in the list, highlight their name, and click on Edit. The Edit User Permission window opens, and you have the option to tick the boxes under the relevant nominal area next to Open the Future Periods and the Close Period, and to reopen closed periods. And all you need to do for that particular user is to tick or untick the relevant boxes here. So for example, if you want them to be able to open the future period in the sales nominal area, you make sure the box is ticked. And if you don't, you make sure that box is unticked. And this could be unique to each user. So you can tick and untick any relevant boxes under any user that you need to. When you are happy, you will click OK. Now the next thing you could do if the user is not appearing on your list, so particularly a new user, they may not appear on your list here. What you would need to do is add them in by clicking Add. In the Add User Permissions window, which is very similar to before, what you can do is go ahead from the drop-down menu, select the new user that's now set up on your Sage 200 system. And when you've selected them, go ahead and tick and untick these boxes as mentioned before. And when you're happy, click OK. I'm just going to click Cancel here. So when you're happy you've made all the changes to all the relevant users, you can go ahead and click Close on this window. And that is how you give users permissions to open and close financial periods in Sage. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is how to actually open and close those periods in Sage. So to do this, we go back to the left-hand side and we click on Maintain Accounting Periods. The Maintain Accounting Periods window opens. And what you can see on the screen, I've got a couple of different statuses next to the sum of the periods. I've got Closed and I've got Open. There is a third status as well called Future, but we'll talk more about that in a minute. So when I look at the closed periods, what this means is a user cannot post into that closed period either by accident or on purpose. So what will happen if they do post a transaction into a closed period is Sage will automatically post it to the next available open period. So what would happen there is if I was to try to post a transaction in the sales area with a March date, Sales would automatically post that transaction into the April period. The transaction itself would still have a March date on it, but it would just appear in the April period. A status of open, of course, as you can see, most of my periods are open at the moment. This will of course mean you can post a transaction into an open period as normal, and Sage will act as you would expect it to do. Now the future financial period, so where you will come across this is particularly at the year end. So you may have finished off posting for the financial year, and you're moving then on to the next financial year. So if your year end is December, you moved on into January and February. These statuses will say future until you have closed all of the previous periods in the previous financial year and the year end routine has been run. While these statuses are future, what happens is when you post a transaction into a period that has a status of future, Sage will post those transactions into deferred postings. And when this period is open after your year-end routine has been run, Sage will then automatically post them to the relevant areas of Sage for you and take it out of deferred postings. So now that we've talked a little bit about the periods, we go ahead and show you how to actually open and close these financial periods. So I've got a couple of options down here. So in the more recent versions of Sage, I've got the option to close all. So what that will do is allow me to highlight, in my case, my April period. And if I was to click close all, it would close all of these nominal areas for that period for me. And I could do that all with one click of a button. In the older versions of Sage, and we still have the option here, we have the option to change period status. Now this is particularly useful if you want to open or close one area in that particular period at a time. So in this case, as you can see, I've got the nominal adjustment still open in March, but I've got all other areas closed. So instead of clicking close all, which would work here, it's more convenient for me to go ahead and click on change period status. So I go ahead and click on that now. Then a little window appears, and I would recommend that you read this window and go ahead and click OK when you're happy. Sage will then run through its routine. When it's finished, a little message pops up to say the period end procedure has been complete. You simply click OK on that. And then, as you can see, the period status has changed from open to closed. And the rules we talked about closed periods now applies to the nominal adjustments area for March. You can, if you need to, reopen a period. So what you would do is click on the period that is currently closed. You would go ahead and click the change period status button again. It then gives you a little message to confirm to say, are you sure you want to reopen the period? You say yes to that. And what that does now is change that status back to open. And that will allow you to post transaction to it normally, and the rules of a closed period do not apply in that scenario. Another little tip for you, if you're on this screen and you need any further help with it, simply press F1 on your keyboard and it will bring up the in-product help, or you could just press the little question mark here and it will bring up the in-product help and give you a step-by-step guide of what we've just spoke about today. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you have found it helpful, and I hope you all have a great day.